Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today I thought we would make a Mother's Day card, an official Mother's Day card, using the Spellbinders Gorgeous You Perfume Bottle Dies. I got this last year at their Weekender event and I haven't used it yet, so I thought today we would make a official Mother's Day card. The card I did last week didn't actually say Mother's Day, even though I'm going to use it as a Mother's Day card for some of my girlfriends that have children. And today I want to make a card to send to my mom. So we are also throwing in a lot of other products. This washi tape is Peony Perfection from Pink Fresh Studio. And that is in the set that recently came out. It's Peony Perfection. You get the die set, the stamp set, and the stencils, but we are only using the washi tape and the dies because I didn't feel like die cutting any more flowers. We're going to take a shortcut and do this the easy way. So Pink Fresh Studios washi tape used to come in a long strip for one die. The die was long, but they've since cut that into two, which makes it really nice and it is much easier to die cut. So I'm just getting my panels prepped here. We kind of have to cut this one in half like that. And I'm just getting those on my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch pieces of paper here. We're just going to get those on there. And then I like to take my bone folder and just kind of burnish those down before I die cut them. So when I die cut these images out of the washi tape is a little bit slick. So I like to use my Empress because it is magnetic. But then at the same time, I'm also going to take some tape and we are going to make sure that we tape this down. I think I've got everything nice and centered, and I am going to tape the die and my mat just because I don't want that die to, accidentally slip. So let's get this die cut. I will also die cut my other panel, and these images just pop right out of the die and they are cut perfectly. So we've got all our washi images. Let's move those over to the side and concentrate on our perfume bottle. So I die cut some of the flowers and I just went to my paper stash and I found a dark blue that matched really well. I die cut my perfume bottle from that dark blue, and there are several layers that you can use here on your bottle. I am only using 2 other layers, but there is one other one, and we are just going to layer these. I've got the dark blue, a light blue, and then this metallic type paper that I found in my stash. I've got my little perfume bottle top there, and that's another accent piece that will kind of cover up these holes. We still need to die cut our bow, and so for my bow I am going to be using this gold metallic paper, and I can fit all of this on there, but I wanted to show you. I am also bringing back in my bottle die because I want to make that rim of my bottle with the gold metallic paper. I'm just lining up my die right on the edge of this paper. I'm trying to get the most out of it. So I am just going to cut that out of the gold also. So now we've got all of our pieces die cut and we are almost ready to start assembling. For my background, I brought in the Pink Fresh Studio Lush Vines hot foil plate. So I realized that this is retired, but I am going to use it anyways. So go through your stash and see what you can find. So I wanted to show you how I do it when I dry emboss a panel. I've got my Platinum 6 plates. I've got the A plate, the B plate, the E rubber mat. I am going to take my hot foil plate. You can use press plates. And I'm just going to put that on my plate, put that on the rubber mat, and I am using one shim, and then I'm going to put my C cutting plate on top, and then I run that through my Platinum 6 just like that, and I get that beautiful dry embossed impression on there. So let's go ahead and start assembling. We've got all of our flowers here. We will put those off to the side along with our background. And I was just feeling very lazy. I did not want to die cut any more flowers. So that's why I decided to go ahead and use the washi. I love to mix and match all my supplies. I love all things and I like to mix them up. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to kind of center this, and we can center this in the etched lines. There are etched lines on this bottle, and because we used liquid glue, we can move this around a little bit, and that is just about perfect right there. Then we can add our metallic piece, and again we will just center that inside of those etched lines, and actually that landed perfectly. So let's assemble our bow, and the bow is very, very simple, but I want to give it a little extra time to dry because it is gold foil paper, and for some reason, because it's a slick surface and it's not going to absorb into that paper, it does take just a little bit of extra time to dry. So we're going to assemble this just like that. Set that off to the side, let it dry. We will add this little backer piece to our bottle. And I'm just using little dots because I don't want the glue to seep out the back. Just like that. Then we can add our cap for our bottle here. And just looking at that, making sure it's nice and centered. We can bring it down a little bit more if we want to. I think that's pretty good. And then for the rim around the neck of the bottle, I've got this piece here that we die cut, and I'm just going to trim that up a little bit. We're just going to cut straight across, cut those flaps off, and then trim a little bit off of the bottom. Our bow will cover most of that, but we want to make sure that it is trimmed off. We can add some glue to the back of that. Make sure that is nice and centered, and that looks good. We can adjust anything if we need to before that glue dries, and that looks good. So now we can start assembling, and this is what I wanted. I just did not want to spend so much time die cutting. So this paper is a little slick. I am going to attach it to my card base. I have a top folding card base here. I've got foam tape on the back of that, and I'm really kind of disappointed. This Lush Vines press plate is one of my favorites for backgrounds, but it's retired. So just use what you have in your stash. Everything else that I used today will be listed and linked in the description. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I do respond to all comments. If you leave me a nice message and ask a question, if you just leave a comment, I will usually just give you a heart. Let's go ahead, that was a little crooked. Let's go ahead and put some foam tape behind our bottle. So we've got foam tape behind our bottle, but we are not going to remove that backing yet. Now we need to figure out how we want our flowers laid out. And I am just going to look at this and figure out the best placement. And I love that this bottle fits on a standard 4¼ by 5½ inch card. That is perfect. Then we are going to just continue to figure out how we want our layout. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy with it, but there is one thing. So we've got pieces left over that we'll save, but there is one thing that I want to do. So these little pink flowers don't necessarily go with my blue theme here. So I am just going to trim them off. And it's really easy to do. I am just going to trim right up to that flower and the leaves. And we're just going to get rid of those pink flowers because they do not match my theme. And just like that, we've trimmed that and no one will ever know. So I think I'm going to place this one over the bottle. These others we are going to put underneath the bottle. And I won't be using the little pink flowers. I am also going to trim them off of my little bud here. And just as simple as that, no one will ever know that there were pink flowers attached to that flower. So let's bring in some more foam tape. And here I am just going to use a thin foam tape, and we're just going to put it behind the back of our flowers. I want part of them to kind of stick up. We're going to fluff them and get some foam tape back there. That should be good. Then we'll do our other ones. We don't need a lot of foam tape there, just a little bit, kind of fluff them up for dimension. And then finally this last one, kind of fluff that up. This one will go underneath right there. So let's bring in our glue. We've got our bottle centered, and now we can attach these flowers. And I'm going to add just a little bit of glue at the bottom here. And I know my bottle needs to be right about there. So we will look. I did take those release papers off. We will just look and kind of place that right there. And I did attach my background to the card base already, so that way I'm sure I don't overhang the edge and have my die cuts go past the card base. I got those release papers off the back, added a little bit of glue, and we can figure out where we want this one. That looks good. Just hold that down. Make sure that glue adheres. It always takes a little bit extra time for that glue to adhere to the metallic paper. And then we can bring in our other flower. I've got the release papers off. We added a little bit of glue. We're going to put that down here at the bottom. And I'm just being careful not to overhang that card base. So now we can bring in our extras here. We've got our little flower, and I think we'll put that down here. Kind of give it a little fluff if we can. I think that's good. Then we've got our leaves here. We're going to kind of fluff them also. Let's put one up here at the top of our bottle. Then the second one, I'm not sure where I want it. I've got to kind of look at this because we will be putting this flower cluster down here. So let's put this leaf right down here. Now we can take the backing off of our bottle and we can place this nice and centered. So just center that as best as you can. I did have to get my head in there a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. We can press that down. Now for our flower over here, we need to add some foam tape underneath that because our bottle has foam tape and it's 3 layers of paper. So let's add some foam tape right behind our flower here. And for this, I am using the Altenew 1/8 inch foam tape. And I am going to just put that right back there. I love that they have their foam tape in different heights. It just makes everything so convenient. Add a little bit of glue and attach that. And again, I'm just making sure not to let that die cut overhang that card base too much anyways. So I'm going to hold that for a minute. Now we can attach our bow. And isn't that turning out so pretty? I just love this. And we can see we need a little bit of glue behind each of these points here, just so that stays attached. So a little bit back here, a little bit here, 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 and here. And that bow should stay attached. I'm just getting that nice and centered. And now I am going to hold my glue points here just until that sets, maybe 30 seconds. Now we can bring in our sentiment, and I've got Happy Mother's Day. I hot foiled that with gold foil on the same dark blue paper. And for that, oh my gosh, I love this set. For that, I used the Better Press Let's Celebrate sentiments. And these are some wonderful sentiments. We've got happy birthday wishes, happy Mother's Day, let's celebrate, happy anniversary, and then some sub-sentiments. I will be bringing this back in for sure in the future. Let's add our sentiment. I've got foam tape behind that, and we are going to just try to center this as best as we can and try to make that straight. I do have a crooked eye. I'm just going to go for it. Normally I would bring in my T ruler, but we're just going to go for it. And look at that. That is beautiful. I just love this. So now we need to add some embellishments. And for my embellishments, I am using Pinkfresh Studios Gold Metallic Pearls. And this card came together so quickly. I just love mixing and matching all my company's products. I can't just use one company. I always feel like I mix so many of them together, but you get so many wonderful looks. And that's why we buy these things, so we can use them. And there we go. That card is complete. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. It looks so regal. So the Peony, what is this? The Peony Perfection Washi Tape Suite from Pinkfresh came in the blue that we used here, but it also comes in this pink. And it's kind of a deep purple almost, like a magenta. And that is so beautiful. I also did one in that washi tape. And I don't know which one is my favorite. My husband likes the pink better, but I kind of like the blue. Those are so pretty and so quick and easy. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.